From the moment humans first gazed upon the stars, we've sought our place in the cosmic dance. But what of our place in time? History, often seen as fixed, is truly a vast, ever-shifting landscape, profound as an ancient desert sands. It is not just dates and names, but a living entity, constantly reinterpreted, forgotten, and rediscovered. Imagine colossal dunes stretching endlessly toward a shimmering horizon. Beneath these golden waves lie buried cities, forgotten empires, and silent whispers of lost civilizations. Each grain of sand represents a moment, a life, a story, carried by time's winds, sometimes preserved, often scattered into oblivion. Consider monumental structures defying time, the pyramids of Giza, colossal statues of Easter Island, the remnants of Petra. These silent sentinels testified to human ambition, yet their true contexts and narratives are often shrouded in myth, conjecture, and centuries of erosion. What truths have desert winds smoothed away? What intentions obscured by millennia? Even enduring records prove fragile. Ancient papyri, meticulously crafted, have crumbled to dust, their invaluable insights lost forever. Empires rise and fall. Their official histories, carved in stone, are often defaced or reinterpreted by conquerors. A new power frequently dictates a new past, shaping collective memory to serve its present agenda. This section invites us through time's veils, acknowledging the impermanence of even formidable historical records. It challenges us to question what we know, appreciating the monumental task of piecing together fragments. History isn't a complete tapestry, but a collection of threads, some vibrant, some faded, many missing. Our understanding remains an ongoing work, shaped by discovery, perspective, and time's relentless march. Our journey through history's shifting sands reveals that before the etched stone or the fragile papyrus, there was the human voice. As the desert winds whisper away written records, imagine the distant past where collective memory was first forged not by ink, but by breath and rhythm. In the flickering glow of a primordial campfire, surrounded by the vast, silent wilderness, our ancestors gathered. Here, under a sky ablaze with ancient stars, history found its earliest vessel, the spoken word. An elder, etched with the wisdom of seasons, would command the attention of the clan. With gestures both subtle and grand, they recounted the sagas of their lineage, tales of heroic hunts, the genesis of their people, encounters with powerful spirits, and the lessons learned from triumphs and adversities. These were not mere stories, they were the very fabric of their identity, passed down from generation to generation, binding individuals into a cohesive community. The rhythmic cadence of the narrator, the responsive hum of the listeners, the shared gaze into the flames, these elements combined to create a powerful, immersive experience. Each retelling was an act of communal remembering, a reinforcement of cultural values, and a practical guide for survival. The migration routes of their ancestors, the medicinal properties of plants, the lore of constellations, or vital knowledge encapsulated within these oral traditions. However, this form of history, while intimate and immediate, carried its own inherent fragility. Unlike the enduring monuments of stone, oral traditions were susceptible to the vagaries of human memory, the nuances of interpretation, and the disruptive forces of conquest or catastrophe. A forgotten verse, a misremembered name, or the tragic loss of a storyteller could alter or erase entire chapters of a people's past. Yet, it was through these oral echoes that humanity first grappled with its past, weaving narratives that explained their present and shaped their future. These early acts of storytelling laid the fundamental groundwork for all subsequent historical endeavors, demonstrating an intrinsic human need to connect with what came before, to learn from it, and to transmit that knowledge across the chasm of time. This primal exchange around the fire remains a profound testament to the enduring power of shared memory. From the intimate yet vulnerable realm of oral tradition, humanity sought a more enduring canvas for its memories. The inherent fragility of the spoken word, susceptible to misinterpretation or outright loss, spurred a profound innovation, the act of inscription. Across ancient civilizations, a new form of memory-keeping emerged, etched into stone and inscribed on scrolls, solidifying narratives that would otherwise fade with the generations. Consider the monumental civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia. Here, vast temple walls and imposing stelae became colossal libraries of the past. Intricate hieroglyphs and cuneiform script were not merely decorative. They were official histories, sacred texts, and decrees, meticulously carved to withstand the ravages of time. These inscriptions proclaimed the glories of pharaohs, the victories of kings, and the divine origins of their rule, creating a permanent, public record that anchored their societies. This was history not whispered around a fire, but boldly declared to eternity. Yet stone, while permanent, was cumbersome. The need for more portable and adaptable records led to the development of writing surfaces like papyrus in Egypt and clay tablets elsewhere. This innovation gave rise to a specialized class, the scribes. These highly educated individuals possessed the unique skill to decipher and create written language, transforming abstract symbols into concrete records. With nimble fingers and concentrated gazes, scribes meticulously unrolled fragile papyrus, dipping reed pens into ink to record everything from administrative details and legal contracts to epic poems and religious scriptures. Their chambers, filled with the rustle of scrolls and the scent of ink, were the nerve centers of historical production. They became the gatekeepers of knowledge, tasked with preserving and transmitting the official narratives of empires, dynasties, and faiths. This shift marked a pivotal moment. History became something that could be systematically organized, stored, and retrieved. But it also introduced a new dynamic. Whose stories were preserved and whose were discarded? The power to write history was now concentrated in the hands of a few, establishing official versions that often served the interests of the powerful. The birth of recorded history brought permanence, but also the potential for controlled narratives, forever shaping our understanding of the past. From the meticulous hands of scribes safeguarding what they deemed essential, the narrative power of history transitioned into the grand designs of empires. no longer merely preserving, but actively constructing. These formidable powers understood that control over the past was paramount to securing their present and future. The Roman Empire stands as a preeminent example of this mastery. Their public spaces were not just avenues and forums, but vast outdoor museums of imperial propaganda. Triumphal arches, like the Arch of Titus or Constantine, did not simply commemorate victories, they sculpted collective memory, depicting conquering legions in heroic poses, subjugated foes in chains, and divine favor blessing the emperor's rule. These colossal stone narratives served as enduring testaments to an official truth, meant to inspire awe and loyalty among citizens and instill fear in adversaries. But beyond the monumental, a more insidious manipulation occurred within the quiet chambers of official historians and imperial archives. While some writers, like Tacitus, strove for critical analysis, many more were tasked with crafting histories that glorified emperors, legitimized dynasties, and downplayed or entirely omitted inconvenient truths. Biographies were embellished, rebellions whitewashed, and rival claimants to power systematically vilified or erased from the official record.
The concept of damnatio memoriae, though often informal, demonstrated this erasure in stark terms. Statues toppled, names chiseled from inscriptions, effectively condemning an individual to historical oblivion. This deliberate shaping of historical memory profoundly influenced how future generations, including our own, would perceive these epochs. We see through the lens they crafted, often unwittingly accepting their version of events. The power wielded by these empires was not just military or economic. It was the power to define reality, to construct a past that served their present, and to imprint that version indelibly upon the collective consciousness, proving that history is not just a recounting of facts, but a deeply contested battleground for truth.
While empires sculpted grand narratives in stone and decree, another formidable force was meticulously crafting history on parchment: faith. With the decline of classical empires and the rise of Christianity, particularly in medieval Europe, the Church emerged as the paramount cultural, intellectual, and moral authority. Its vision of history was not merely a chronicle of human events, but a sacred tapestry woven by divine intervention. At the heart of this historical construction were the monastic scriptoria. Within their hallowed walls, scribes, monks dedicated to their sacred task, toiled for countless hours. Their lives were a testament to painstaking devotion, not just to prayer, but to the meticulous preservation and creation of texts. These were the guardians of ancient wisdom, the careful hands that transcribed holy scriptures, theological treatises, and the hagiographies, or lives of saints. Their most enduring legacy came in the form of illuminated manuscripts. These were not mere books, they were profound works of art. Each stroke of the pen, each vibrant pigment, serving a spiritual and didactic purpose beyond aesthetics. Their pages often depicted dramatic divine interventions, miraculous events, and intricate sacred genealogies, tracing lineages from biblical patriarchs all the way to Christ and even to earthly rulers, thereby anchoring human existence firmly within a divinely ordained plan. Their pages often depicted dramatic divine interventions, miraculous events, and intricate sacred genealogies, tracing lineages from biblical patriarchs all the way to Christ, and even to earthly rulers, thereby anchoring human existence firmly within a divinely ordained plan. These narratives were extraordinarily powerful. They established the foundational moral frameworks, explained the inexplicable through divine will, and provided a comprehensive shared cosmological understanding that bound diverse communities together under a unified belief system. They were more than mere records. They were affirmations of faith, meticulously designed to inspire awe, reinforce theological dogma, and guide human conduct according to sacred doctrine. The carefully curated stories of martyrs, the genealogies of kings blessed by God, and the accounts of miracles all served to legitimize ecclesiastical authority, strengthen the faith of the populace, and offer a coherent, divinely sanctioned narrative for the past, present, and future. The carefully curated stories of martyrs, the genealogies of kings blessed by God, and the accounts of miracles all served to legitimize ecclesiastical authority, strengthen the faith of the populace, and offer a coherent, divinely sanctioned narrative for the past, present, and future. This was history as divine revelation, shaping hearts and minds for nearly a millennium, proving the enduring power of shared belief in constructing collective memory. The monastic scriptoria, though crucial, operated at a pace inherently limited by human hands. Each book was a singular, painstakingly crafted work of art, rare and expensive, restricting knowledge to the elite and the clergy. But by the mid-15th century, Europe stood on the cusp of a revolution that would shatter these limitations and fundamentally redefine the dissemination of information. The advent of the printing press with movable type. Johannes Gutenberg's innovation in Mainz around 1440 was nothing short of epoch-making. His ingenious system, combining individual metal letters, a robust press, and oil-based ink, allowed for the rapid, mass production of identical texts. Imagine the rhythmic clatter, the pungent smell of ink as countless pages rolled off the press, each a perfect replica of the last. This was not merely an improvement, it was an explosion. Suddenly, books, pamphlets, and broadsides became vastly more affordable and accessible. Literacy, once a luxury, began its slow, inevitable spread across society. The control over narratives, once firmly held by scribes and ecclesiastical authorities, began to fracture. Where before a single manuscript might take months or years to copy, now hundreds, even thousands, could be produced in the same time frame. This technological leap fueled intellectual ferment. The Protestant Reformation, for instance, would have been impossible without it. Martin Luther's 95 Theses and his translations of the Bible spread like wildfire, reaching an unprecedented audience and sparking theological debates far beyond the walls of universities and churches. The printing press became the indispensable tool for circulating new ideas, challenging dogma, and fostering public discourse. It wasn't just religious texts. Scientific discoveries, philosophical treatises, and political manifestos could now transcend geographical boundaries and social strata with unparalleled speed.
Scientific discoveries, philosophical treatises, and political manifestos could now transcend geographical boundaries and social strata with unparalleled speed. It enabled the rise of counter-narratives, allowing dissenting voices to find an audience, questioning established powers, and presenting alternative interpretations of history and society. The monolithic, divinely sanctioned narratives, so carefully constructed over centuries, now faced a relentless barrage of new perspectives. The collective memory was no longer a carefully curated garden, it was a wild, untamed forest, teeming with countless new seeds of thought, uncontrollably growing and reshaping reality. The printing press had indeed unleashed a torrent of information, fracturing old authorities and fostering diverse perspectives. However, this freedom also sparked a powerful desire for order and coherence, especially as the 18th and 19th centuries ushered in the fervent rise of nationalism. In this era, the concept of a unified people with a shared past became paramount, leading to the deliberate, often artistic, construction of foundational national myths. No longer exclusively a religious or monarchical narrative, history was now systematically employed to forge a robust collective identity, binding diverse populations into cohesive nation-states. Artists, writers, and educators became the new architects of memory. Across Europe and beyond, art studios buzzed as painters sought to immortalize heroic deeds and defining moments, frequently taking considerable artistic license. Iconic battle scenes, pivotal treaties, and the lives of revered founding figures were meticulously reimagined, often stripped of inconvenient complexities and imbued with an almost mythical grandeur. Consider the grand canvases depicting historical conflicts. Soldiers are not merely fighting, they are embodying national virtues, sacrificing valiantly for a glorious cause. Leaders are portrayed not as complex, flawed individuals, but as visionary paragons, seemingly guided by an undeniable destiny. The overarching purpose was not rigorous historical accuracy, but profound emotional resonance and ideological unity. These compelling visual narratives, disseminated widely through prints, public sculptures, and grand displays, deeply entered the collective consciousness, shaping how generations understood their origins and their unique place in the broader world. From Joan of Arc's divine inspiration in France to the triumphant, idealized charge of George Washington, these figures and events provided powerful, unifying archetypes. They offered a vital shared mythology, a foundational story that transcended regional loyalties and socio-economic divides. This pervasive process of myth-making was essential for nation-building, providing a coherent past, a common enemy, and a shared destiny. It dramatically illustrates how, even with an explosion of information, the desire to unify and simplify the past remained an incredibly potent force, actively rewriting perceived realities to serve a powerful national ideal. If the 19th century perfected the art of creating unifying national myths, the 20th century, under the grip of totalitarian regimes, pioneered the chilling science of systematically obliterating inconvenient truths. For these authoritarian states, control over the past was as vital as control over the present. History was not merely rewritten, it was frequently annihilated,
deemed a dangerous enemy to absolute power. Dictatorships understood that a populace deprived of an accurate past could be more easily molded, its collective memory a malleable clay in the hands of the state. This wasn't merely about spinning facts. It involved a ruthless, deliberate campaign to expunge individuals, events, and entire narratives from official records and public consciousness. The tools of this erasure were varied and chillingly effective. One of the most insidious methods was the meticulous manipulation of visual records. Photographs, once considered immutable evidence, became canvases for revision. Figures who fell out of favor, once celebrated comrades or rivals, would vanish from official portraits, group photos, and public displays, airbrushed into oblivion as if they had never existed. This physical alteration served as a stark metaphor for their actual fate, often imprisonment, exile, or execution. Textbooks were purged of dissenting voices, historical events reinterpreted to glorify the regime, and monuments dedicated to fallen heroes quietly dismantled or repurposed.
Libraries saw countless books burned. Archives were reorganized to bury unwelcome documents, and public discourse was rigidly policed to prevent any mention of the unpersons or forgotten epics. The state became the sole arbiter of what was true, what was remembered, and what was allowed to endure. This systematic obliteration of public memory created a profound cognitive dissonance, a world where yesterday's hero was today's non-person, and where shared experiences could no longer be openly discussed or validated. The past became a fluid, terrifying landscape, constantly shifting at the whim of the party line. It served as a stark reminder that in totalitarian societies, the battle for truth is a constant, perilous struggle, and the ultimate casualty is often the collective soul of a nation.
From the chilling, centralized erasure of totalitarian regimes, we transition into an era defined by an unprecedented explosion of information, the digital age. Here, the narrative of history fragments, refracts, and reshapes itself at lightning speed across a vast, interconnected global network. The Internet, social media, and digital archives have democratized historical discourse, granting countless individual perspectives a platform once reserved for official channels. Suddenly, everyone can be a chronicler, an archivist, or a historical commentator. Citizen journalism captures real-time events, while digital tools allow for the rapid sharing of forgotten documents and suppressed testimonies, potentially unearthing truths previously buried. However, this democratization comes with profound complexities. The sheer volume of data makes discernment challenging. Distinguishing verifiable fact from persuasive fiction or outright misinformation becomes a constant, demanding task. Algorithms designed to personalize our experiences inadvertently create echo chambers, reinforcing existing biases and limiting exposure to alternative viewpoints. Historical narratives are no longer monolithic, but a kaleidoscope of competing versions, each vying for attention in an overwhelming digital stream. The immediacy of online discourse often collapses the temporal distance required for objective historical analysis, leading to quick judgments and reactive interpretations. Misinformation, historical revisionism, and outright fabrication can spread globally in moments, gaining traction through viral sharing before truth has a chance to catch up. Deep fakes and manipulated media challenge the very notion of visual evidence, making it harder than ever to trust what we see. Furthermore, the transient nature of digital information, the ephemeral quality of websites and social media posts, presents new challenges for future historians attempting to piece together our present. The constant contestation and reshaping of history in real time means that what is accepted as truth today might be fiercely debated or completely overturned tomorrow. This era challenges us to navigate a dizzying landscape where every individual's echo contributes to a collective, often contradictory, understanding of the past.
From the dizzying landscape of digital echoes, where history fragments into countless competing versions, we arrive at the ongoing vital struggle, the relentless human quest for truth. In this chaotic symphony of information, the modern historian stands as an indispensable guide, a meticulous detective sifting through the detritus of both ancient wisdom and ephemeral digital noise. Their task is monumental: to navigate the treacherous currents of collective memory, distinguish fact from fiction, and painstakingly reconstruct a coherent narrative from disparate fragments. This pursuit transcends mere academic interest. It is a fundamental act of self-discovery. Historians today are polymaths, poring over fragile papyri and weathered cuneiform tablets one moment, then deep diving into encrypted databases and archived social media feeds the next. They synthesize archaeological findings with linguistic analysis, cross-reference official decrees with personal letters, and compare satellite imagery with medieval maps. The tools may evolve, from quill and parchment to fiber optics and AI, but the core objective remains constant: to understand the intricate tapestry of human experience across millennia. It's a battle against oblivion, against deliberate obfuscation, and against the corrosive effects of time itself. Every newly deciphered inscription, every rediscovered diary, every verified data point is a victory. Yet the work is never truly finished. Each generation brings new questions, new perspectives, and new technologies to challenge established interpretations. The past is not a static monolith, but a living, breathing entity, constantly re-examined and re-understood through the lens of the present. Our collective memory, shaped by these dedicated scholars, forms the bedrock of our identity. It informs our present decisions and guides our future aspirations. It reminds us of triumphs and failures, of enduring values and cautionary tales. The historian's labor ensures that the lessons of yesteryear are not lost in the clamor of today, that the voices of the past continue to resonate, offering wisdom and warning. To engage with history, therefore, is to engage with ourselves, to critically question, to diligently seek, and to perpetually preserve the authentic story of who we are and who we might become. This is the ceaseless, essential work of humanity.